Hi everybody and welcome back to the Going For It Sim Studio. I'm Jeremy Tufts and I challenged myself to learn the game of golf on my About Golf simulator and then attempt to break 80 for my very first ever round of golf outside, which is coming up here in just a short few weeks. Throughout that time, I learned a lot, and what makes me really strong against some of my really good golfer buddies who come play with me here in the sim, and it's something I've also noticed as I check my distances on an outdoor range, is I'm really good from 100 yards in. And I say really good as in for how long I've been playing, my level of knowledge of where my clubs go within that range are quite a bit past where I technically should be. Now, that was the point of this whole challenge, was to make the game of golf more accessible, prove that golf technology is so good now that we can take the barrier of entry and the steep learning curve and eliminate those, bring the learning curve down to a lot more mellow, where we have somewhere to learn the game in a less intimidating environment and somewhere where we can be in a controlled atmosphere while we learn how to make contact with the ball a little bit more consistent. So how did I learn to get really good at 100 yards in? Well, there's something that you've probably heard elite golfers talk about, and it may seem intimidating at first. It's called a wedge matrix. And a lot of the times people go, oh, I know exactly how far my stuff goes. But when you write it down and you get to see it visually, it truly changes how you approach the greens. 100 yards and in is the most important part of the golf course. A lot of new and beginner golfers can hit the ball fine. In fact, nowadays they can go long off the tee box. It may not be as consistent as we would like, but it can go pretty far. The clubs all go far, right? The new marketing thing and product focus is longer, further, straighter, more forgiveness, more distance. But we still need to be able to score. So what I want to do is continue my goal of making the game accessible and removing that intimidation factor. I'm going to show you, as a new and beginner golfer, how to create your club matrix, why it's not going to be perfect, but exactly how it's going to help you score a heck of a lot better. Let's get into it. All right, so as a new and beginner golfer, you may be hearing the term club matrix and your head starts spinning and you think, yeah, I've read about it, I've heard about it, but I'm nowhere near good enough to even be able to do it or need one. But I'm gonna say, I don't think you could be further from the truth, because this is the most important aspect of getting the ball into that cup, right? Scoring is how we be successful at the game of golf. And today, a lot of the clubs, they can hit far for beginners. They've designed with a lot of forgiveness in them to make sure they hit straighter and have a lot less errant shots. So we're able to get to the green a little bit quicker, but when we get within that scoring distance, which is generally 100, 110 in, we have no idea how far our clubs go. And that's where we run into trouble. Now, I know a lot of avid golfers who they have no idea. You say, hey, wedge matrix, and they're like, huh? It's something that I've kept for a long time. And I've really figured like, hey, it's time to talk about how beginners can utilize this and become better golfers quicker, because we need to keep up with how fast the equipment is improving on us, right? So how can we make this easy? Well, it's a very simple task. Take you about 20 to 30 minutes at the most. But I want to talk about a few parameters real quick, because these are important. There's a few things that come to mind that are going to make this practice a heck of a lot easier. The first thing is you're going to want to find a simulator, like the About Golf simulator behind me here. They have a sim locator feature on their website. You can find one near you, or a different sim house. You could also find an outdoor range if you don't trust inside and you want to just utilize a launch monitor out at your local club. It's important to have data there because we're looking for the carry number. We're not looking for the total distance, and it's really difficult for you to get that carry number utilizing a rangefinder. But when we're on course, approaching a green, you're able to get very accurate numbers of what you need to carry that ball to get you on the green and be able to score better. Another thing is, don't swing out of your shoes. When you're practicing on the range, when you're in a sim, it's difficult to not hit the same swing that you're doing on course, okay? So you have to take your ego, put it aside. The distances you're hitting these things don't mean anything to anybody else but yourself. Who cares how far you can hit your wedges? Okay. If that becomes an issue, well, eventually you'll figure it out. But what we're trying to do is help you score better, not impress your buddies. Because I promise when you're hitting greens a lot quicker than they are and a lot faster just because you're a beginner, but all of a sudden you've got this knowledge of within 100 yards and you're just scoring like crazy, well, that's the impression that you want to give. So how do we do it? Well, we're going to hit all of our wedges from pitching wedge to the highest lofted wedge you have. Now that's going to change for everybody because some folks carry 2 wedges, some folks carry 5. You're just going to want to do them all. It's going to be really important. Okay. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start from our highest lofted wedge and we're going to work our way up through our pitching wedge. We're going to do 4 swing lengths per club. And you're going to do 3 shots per swing length to get the average. So another thing here is you want to be honest with yourself. Okay. If you hit a terrible shot, because we're beginners, we're new golfers, we don't have the consistency that a lot of elite golfers do yet, it's going to be difficult for us to even hit 3 decent shots in a row. You might shank one, you might top one, you might chunk it. Just take that one out. It's okay. But don't try to get 3 perfect shots. It's not the goal here. Just 3 shots. Doesn't matter if one's 15 yards, one's 30 yards, and one's 17. You're going to get an average out of that. That's what we're looking for. Okay? You're just going to take a notepad, use your phone, whatever it is, to do the math. And we're going to do our 4 swing lengths per club. So you take your first wedge. The first one we're going to do is we're going to do a quarter swing. From there, we're going to do a half swing. Then we're going to go 3/4. And then we're going to do our favorite full swing. So what do each of those look like? Okay? A quarter swing is club parallel. It's right there. That's it. Now this can feel a little weird. It almost feels like a putt. Okay? Your backswing goes as far as your follow through every time. And what you want to make sure you're doing is let the club do the work. Okay? Don't do that. You're not going to be on the golf course trying to hit a 15-yard shot from your quarter swing and hit it as hard as you can. It's not going to accomplish anything for us throughout this practice. Let the club do the work. And then remember that when you're on the golf course, is you just let the club come through and hit the ball. It's that easy, kind of, right? So again, just so you can see it, club parallel, okay? That's going to be our quarter swing. Half swing is arm parallel, okay? And this one gets to be where things kind of get a little difficult because a lot of the times when I tell people do a half swing, arm parallel, right? Or people get here or they're down here. It's really hard to find that parallel. So this is a practice opportunity too, as you're able to learn what that club parallel looks like. So that's right there, right? Then we're going to move to your 3/4 swing. This is weird. 3/4 is almost a feel type thing because a lot of us don't have a perfect 90 or 90 plus degree turn in our upper body where we're able to get up to a full swing and say, hey, here's the difference into a 3/4 swing. A good thing to remember is that when you're doing your 3/4 swing, it's basically get your hands up to your shoulder. That's pretty close. And that's going to kind of get you there. So from the face on view, right, you're kind of looking at it right there. Just a little bit in that range. And then move to your full swing, our favorite. Full swing is going to feel the most natural because it's probably all you've really done. But now that you go through your full swing on all of them, and I just do each club at a time. I don't do all my quarters, all my halves. I just go 60 degree, 56, 52 pitching wedge. That's the way I do it. And here are my numbers. And if you look at them, they're not perfect. And I'm okay with that because what I'm trying to do is learn. I'm trying to become a better golfer, not make my matrix look really cool. Because what's that do? I'm going to get on the golf course and the numbers aren't going to be real, and then I'm still going to miss the green. So make sure that you're true to yourself when you look at these numbers later on in the day when you're sitting at home and you're just trying to analyze what you just did. It's going to provide you with a few really good insights. It's going to show you where you need to work on. You might find a gap in there, say between 35 and 47 yards. You have nothing. So you got to figure out how to change one of your swings. Maybe you went too light or you hit too hard on some of the different swing lengths on certain clubs. Okay, you could probably look and find some wedge matrices from some of the pros, and you can see exactly what a nice one looks like, so you have perfect gaps. Okay, the other thing you might get out of it is your wedges aren't right. You don't have the right lofts for your swing. And then you know you need to go fill a gap, and that's really, really important. So get out there and figure it out. Like, follow, and subscribe for more, because I'm going to continue sharing my experience, what I have learned to lower that barrier of entry and that intimidation factor that we have in the traditional game of golf, so that us as beginners can become better golfers quicker and enjoy the game that we love to play so much. Wedge matrices, they're not intimidating. They're awesome. And it allows you to go on the golf course, look at where you're at, and score better. And you're gonna impress everybody. You're gonna have more fun. Get after it. Find a simulator, find a launch monitor on an outdoor course, whatever it takes. Become a better golfer now.